877-3DP Show. Email address dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle @DP Show. Robert Griffin Jr. III, Fox football analyst, former Heisman winner, and his podcast is Out of Pocket with RG3. He was on the call for BYU's win over Cincinnati on Saturday. Good to see you again. Let me start with the Browns situation. And what would your philosophy be, coaching philosophy be, moving forward with the quarterbacking situation?
Yeah, I mean, Dan, Shedeur Sanders should be the starter moving forward. And I say that fully knowing that if you listen to Kevin Stefanski's post-game speech, he wanted nothing
I know.
with giving Shedeur any type of credit for the way that the team performed. And I know the skeptics out there will say, well, he had 146 yards of, yards after the catch, and he had a bad interception. But when you watch the actual game and you watched how the team responded to him, you haven't seen that from a quarterback at the starting position for the Cleveland Browns in quite some time. And it's just it's an interesting thing, because when you love the game of football, sometimes the game will love you back. Not always, but sometimes it does. And when you look at Shedeur's situation, come into the season, Joe Flacco's the starter. He's not there anymore. He's in Cincinnati. Kenny Pickett is the guy they wanted to be the starter. He got hurt in training camp. Then Dylan Gabriel comes in, the guy that the head coach clearly prefers and loves, and he gets hurt and gets a concussion. So when you get your opportunity to have your first full week of practice reps with the number one offense, and you go out there and you perform the way that he did, to me, that just shows you when the team responds to you, they play with more purpose, they play with more excitement, and the defense comes away with 10 sacks. I think you have the guy in the building right now that should be the starter for the remainder of the season. And the big thing, Dan, it wasn't just like, hey, take the simple stuff. It was the extended plays, the big playmaking on the broken plays that they've been missing this entire season that Shedeur was able to pull off. And I think that's why he should be the starter.
What do you think of this idea if I treat the NFL MVP like the Heisman, and I invite Matthew Stafford, Jahmyr Gibbs, Drake May, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Myles Garrett?
Okay.
What do you think if those guys are all there and we make the announcement of the MVP? So I know Jahmyr Gibbs isn't going to win, or Smith-Njigba, Myles Garrett because he's a defensive player. But to have representation would be great at multiple positions. What do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say, but why not? You know, we've gotten stuck on this, hey, the quarterback has to win the MVP, or the quarterback has to win the Heisman Trophy. And I don't think that's the case at all. Right now, when you talk about the Heisman Trophy, the top two guys on my list are Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker from Texas Tech, and Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame. So I don't know why we have to be stuck into that. I understand that quarterbacks are the sexy pick, right? They sell more jerseys. More people know who the quarterbacks are. But I tweeted out yesterday that I think Jackson Smith-Njigba should be on everybody's list. Now, I do believe that Matt Stafford should be at the top of everybody's list, because I don't think anyone's playing quarterback better than he is right now, and the Rams are absolutely rolling. But when you look at Myles Garrett, the only thing that could maybe prevent him from winning MVP is the Browns' record. 18 sacks in 11 games is unheard of. He is going to absolutely smash my colleague Michael Strahan's record when it comes to sacks in a season. But I think all these guys, when you have these super impressive years, Saquon Barkley last year, I felt like probably should have won NFL MVP. So I am not a guy, and I don't want to say maligned for it, but I have been chastised for it by some of my colleagues on my stops about putting guys that are not quarterbacks in that MVP race. But this year shows you exactly what you're talking about, Dan. Running backs, wide receivers, defensive ends, they should all be in that conversation. And why not make it more of an event to go out and be able to announce the NFL MVP and truly tell those guys stories in a unique way, just like we do with the Heisman Trophy?
Should we be focusing more on the Cowboys comeback or the Eagles collapse?
I think we should be focusing on the Cowboys comeback. I will say this about the Eagles. If people were upset that they were 8-2, they're definitely upset now that they're 8-3 and they gave up 24 unanswered points to their division rival. I do believe that Jalen Hurts and the criticism around him it's not just unfair, because Dan, we know this life is not fair, right? It is what it is. But I just think it's not justified. there's a lot of teams that wish they could be 8-3 right now. And Jalen Hurts shouldn't be getting some of the criticism that he is. But to focus on the Cowboys, how amazing of a pickup has George Pickens been? I
Yeah, I
mean,
know.
when you look at receivers, and this is something my coaches would talk to me all the time, don't just look at a guy's catches and his yards. Look at his targets and what share or percentage of his targets is he actually catching? Do you have to throw it to him 15 times for him to catch 10 of them? And Pickens last night, 9 targets, 9 catches, 146 yards. And talk about efficiency for them to come back the way that they did. I think he was a big part of that. Dak is obviously playing at an extremely high level. Funniest thing I saw on the internet though was the Eagles posting a wall of all their defenders and saying who's going to get past this. And after the Cowboys won, they posted a picture of Dak Prescott as the Kool-Aid man, and that made me laugh harder than anything yesterday. So that was pretty epic. They definitely won the day on Twitter for the Cowboys social media team.
Okay, but why did the Steelers move on from George Pickens? And would you give him a long-term deal if you're Jerry Jones?
I mean, Jerry Jones wouldn't give Michael Parsons a long-term deal. But I think when you have wide receivers, you have to be willing to manage the good with the bad. And I think in Pittsburgh, George Pickens had kind of wore out his welcome. I think they felt like they were on an Antonio Brown track with him there. And you have to give Pickens credit because I know people are gonna, kill the Steelers for saying, why would you get rid of this guy? You got to understand all the stuff that was going on there. And now Pickens has come to the Dallas Cowboys, a team that most would say doesn't have a great team culture, and he's been a great teammate. So I just tip my cap to Pickens to see him mature so much in just a year. I think CeeDee Lamb has a lot to do with that as well. And when you go to Dallas as a receiver, there's one thing you will get. It's your numbers. And I think I have had to manage receivers who all want the ball. And at the college level, I had 4 guys that could all have 100 catches in a season. I didn't quite have that in the NFL, but you have to learn to manage those situations and those relationships while trying to win and trying to help those receivers get paid. And I think Pickens is very, very thankful for Dak Prescott because not only are they winning, but he's also getting his numbers, which is going to change his life.
Talking to RG3, his Out of Pocket podcast, Out of Pocket with RG3, wherever you get your podcast. Give me the team or teams you're just not quite sure of right now.
Ooh, yeah, so they're not going to like this one, but it's still for me the Indianapolis Colts. And the reason I say that is they had a very unique opportunity this past weekend to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the way that no one thought they could beat them. And for Daniel Jones, he's proved a lot of people wrong, including myself, with the way that he's played this year. But he started hot, and over the past couple of weeks, he started to cool off just a little bit and maybe come back down to earth. But he's played his tail off. I had him in the MVP race a couple of weeks ago because, listen, Dan, you know this, when you're wrong about something, you got to admit it. And I did not think that he would play as well as he had with the Colts. But the knock on him was the same knock that was on Sam Darnold. The same knock that's been on other guys that have gone places and had extreme success in the regular season. But then when they get in those big time playoff matchups, they don't quite live up to the expectation. And this to me was a playoff game for the Colts. And they had the Chiefs beat and they came back. Patrick Mahomes threw for 352 yards, no touchdowns, but they were able to claw themselves back from an 11-point deficit and win the game. And that to me was a sign of can Daniel Jones, can he close the door on a big time quarterback? The best that we have, I think, in the galaxy still. I know Stafford is playing the best right now, but Mahomes is on pace to be the greatest ever. And he couldn't do it on the Chiefs' off day. That to me was the thing where I'm like, man, I'm just not sure about them as a whole competing in the playoffs if they couldn't beat this version of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Explain to me Matthew Stafford at this age doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I said it yesterday. I don't think I can remember a quarterback with his level of arm talent that's played this well at the age of 37 years old.
But explain arm talent. What are we talking about?
When people say arm talent, there's varying variations of it. Like, is it a strong arm? Is it the arm angles? Is it the timing? Is it the flick of the wrist? Is it the way it looks when you make those throws? I think he has all of that. And he's playing better than I think he's ever played in his career. So when I watch the game, some guys, they drop back, hey, rhythm and feet, clean eyes, clean feet. He's getting there in the second hitch when he's supposed to. Like Stafford, it's like poetry in motion. I'm like, damn, that was a good throw. Like he made he made the two fade throws to Devontae Adams, and the second one where Devontae ran up the tunnel, it was an extended handoff. When he threw it, I said, "Oh, that was beautiful." Devontae hadn't even caught the ball yet. But I just knew watching the throw and the way that he puts a little style at the end of some of his throws. And coaches would talk to me about that. Like, as a quarterback when, ooh, I got him. Yeah, I didn't pull the string. I dropped it in the bucket. And when you watch him make those kind of throws, you're almost certain he's going to complete every single pass. To me, his arm talent, he's the king of the no look throw. I know we all praise Patrick Mahomes for it, but Stafford's doing it like 8 times a game. And he's doing it with his helmet stripe. So he'll throw over here, but his helmet stripe is this way and his eyes are over here. And like most guys that try that, they throw interceptions because you can't peripherally see who's all back here. So I've just been completely amazed, to be quite honest, with what Stafford has done. It's hard for guys to carry that arm talent into their late 30s, early 40s. And we saw that with Peyton. We saw that with Tom. And now we're seeing Stafford defy all those odds. And he looks like he could play for another 5, 6, 7 years the way he's playing this year.
Best team in the NFL is?
Wow. Best team in the NFL, LA Rams. I really believe when you look at the way they're structured, 2 number 1 receivers in Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, quarterbacks playing at an MVP level, 2 running backs in Blake Corum and Kyron that give you everything you absolutely need, and their defense is just smothering. I mean, I felt bad for Baker with the shoulder. Yeah. Don't know what the injury prognosis is going to be for him, but it was almost as if he was out there fending for himself. That this Rams team, I know they don't have Aaron Donald, and I know they won a Super Bowl, but this might be the best Rams team that Sean McVay's ever had.
Did you ever kid around with Andrew Luck, beating him out for the Heisman?
Yeah, me and Andrew go way back. We were in Texas competing. We never played against each other, but I've known Andrew for a really long time. And when we got to the Heisman, it was, he was the guy that everybody thought was going to win for the past 3 years when we got there. And he definitely wanted to win that award. It just so happened that we had a better year.
Paulie, do you have the voting?
Yeah, he got him by about 200 votes. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
But you don't joke around with Andrew with that?
No, I am not the guy that pokes and prods guys about the Heisman Trophy. I look at it more as an honor as opposed to, hey, I won it, you didn't. And I actually took everybody out. So they give you an opportunity to take a limo by yourself, go out on town, have fun with your people, or you can get limos for everybody, and everybody can go out on the town. So I chose to bring everybody out: Monty Ball, Tyrann Mathieu, Andrew Luck, Trent Richardson, and we had a great time on the city there in New York. But it's been cool to watch Andrew, at Stanford, being the general manager, and the reaction he had on the sideline this past weekend with the scoop and score shows you how much he loves football. And I'm happy for him because at the end of the day, this guy retired early, right? He retired early when everyone thought he was at the prime of his career because he didn't love football anymore. So it's awesome to see him back in love with football.
Could you see him being the head coach at Stanford next year?
Yeah, I mean, he already pretty much is.
Yeah, that's what
he pretty much is, Dad.
That's what I felt. Like he gets so into it. He's so close. That's as close as you can get to the action by being the head coach. So he could take that Stanford job.
And Dan, don't you think it's the smartest way to do it? Like, He's a general manager. They're interviewing him on the sideline. How many other general managers are getting interviewed in the middle of a game?
No, I know. Yeah.
And the team isn't that good this year.
Yeah.
But they could potentially be really good over the next couple of years. And then he just waltzes right in there, puts the head coach hat on, and now he doesn't have to take those losses on his record. He can have a good team and go out there and make it happen. I'm really happy for him.
Good to talk to you. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. God bless.
That's Robert Griffin Jr. III, Out of Pocket with RG3 podcast, wherever you get your podcast. We'll take a break. We will give you our best and worst of the weekend right after this.